Hello and welcome to United Report. This is your home for all the latest Manchester United news, match updates, transfer stories, and in-depth analysis. Stay connected and never miss a moment. Subscribe now to stay ahead with everything happening at Old Trafford. Ruben Amorim is facing an injury nightmare for Manchester United's biggest game of the season, with 4 defenders missing from training. United take on Tottenham in the Europa League final in Bilbao next Wednesday and could be short on players at the back. The club's season rests on the result in northern Spain, with victory providing salvation in the form of a place in next season's Champions League. United are 16th in the Premier League, a place above Spurs, following the 2-0 defeat by West Ham on Sunday, and are fully focused on the Europa League final. The West Ham game extended their winless run in the league to 7 games and brought another bitter pill to swallow in the form of another injury for Yoro. The French defender received treatment on the pitch at Old Trafford in the second half and had to be replaced by Harry Maguire. "We have to assess Lenny in a better way tomorrow," Amorim said after the match. He felt something, but it could be a small thing. He was due to undergo a scan to determine the extent of the issue and was conspicuous by his absence at an opening training session at Carrington on Wednesday morning. Amorim could be sweating on other injuries too, with Diogo Dalot, Matthijs de Ligt and Aiden Heaven also not present in the session. Dalot suffered a calf injury in the 1-0 defeat by Wolves last month and appears very unlikely to make the Spurs game. He has something in his muscle, his calf. He had a sequence of games. He played all the time. We try to manage, but the players play a lot of minutes and not so ready to cope with that. Dalot felt something, Amorim said. "We don't know how long he's going to be out, but he's out for these next games." De Ligt picked up a knee injury in the 4-3 loss to Brentford, but Amorim had been optimistic about a swift return. "It is not a big issue," he said. "That is a good thing. He cannot play tomorrow versus Athletic Bilbao, and he'll not play on Sunday versus West Ham, but then we'll check day by day." Heaven has not been involved in any squads since being on the bench against Newcastle on April 13th due to a small setback. Injuries have been a major problem for Amorim during his debut campaign as United boss, with defence a particular issue. Maguire, Victor Lindelof, Luke Shaw and Noussair Mazraoui all featured against West Ham, but United are short on numbers in defence. Amorim chose to play a strong side against the Hammers on Sunday, with Bruno Fernandes partnering Manuel Ugarte in midfield. The Portuguese boss admitted that he still had one eye on the Europa League final and had to manage his squad ahead of Friday's trip to play Chelsea in the Premier League. "We want to win and to be competitive, also in the Premier League," Amorim said. "Bruno doesn't have the problem of any injury touches would, but Harry Maguire has. So we have to manage that, but they have to play, and it is better to play than to stay out." Manchester United have been warned that they could be forced to sell Bruno Fernandes against Ruben Amorim's wishes. The Red Devils midfielder has been linked with a move away from Old Trafford this year. Real Madrid have emerged as contenders for his services, while clubs in Saudi Arabia are also keen on recruiting the Portuguese international. Former Liverpool star Stephen Warnock has warned that United could be forced to bid farewell should they fail to win the Europa League, and with it, seal a return to the Champions League. Amorim's side take on Premier League rivals Tottenham Hotspur in the final later this month. Speaking to casino apps, Warnock said, "No transfer is off limits for Manchester United, especially if they lose the Europa League final. That includes Bruno Fernandes. They will need funds, and they may see him as the lifeline to reinvest in the squad. I know there have been links to the Saudi Pro League. I'd hope he's more ambitious than that. The money he'll be on at United will be more than sufficient, but you just never know in football. United's hand may be forced by financial constraints." Amorim has already revealed his stance on a potential sale of his captain and is determined to keep him at Old Trafford. Speaking in a press conference, he said, "I think it is easy to understand that transfer speculation, not just because of the numbers, but the way he plays," said Amorim in his press conference ahead of Athletic Bilbao. "He is a top player, and we need to top players. He is a leader, the captain. It is natural that people want Bruno, but we want to keep him. He is one of the top players of the world." The United boss then doubled down on those comments in a further interview with TNT Sports. Asked if Fernandes remains in his plans, he added, "That is clear. It's normal that a lot of clubs want players like Bruno, but Bruno is our captain. I will say it again, he is a player that will stay. We will do everything we can for him to stay. That's it. It's nothing new. One club wants Bruno Fernandes, but Bruno Fernandes is our player and is going to keep playing for us." Fernandes, 30, has just over 2 years remaining on his current deal at Old Trafford. The former Sporting Lisbon playmaker has enjoyed another sensational season for United this term, despite their wretched campaign. He has scored 19 goals and notched 19 assists in 54 appearances in all competitions. A record that he will no doubt be trying to improve in the Europa League final later this month. Jose Mourinho has previously claimed that the manager at Manchester United needs to be allowed to focus on coaching, not have to involve himself in other aspects of the club. The special one is among those to try and fail at Old Trafford, but believes the structure was all wrong. Mourinho led the Red Devils for just over 2 years, but ultimately couldn't make the club English champions once again, despite being hired off the back of several title-winning exploits. His best effort was second, when he worked under the Glazers hierarchy led by Ed Woodward. Things have changed massively since at Old Trafford, with Sir Jim Ratcliffe now leading the club's football operations, but fortunes are yet to change. Prior to Ineos coming on board, the likes of Mourinho and Louis van Gaal had failed to have the desired impact in Manchester, and the special one insists that too many coaches have been axed for it to be their fault, instead pointing the blame elsewhere. He previously told Fabrizio Romano, "Some of them were very good, but none of them have been successful or survived for very long. You can't blame all the coaches. The only conclusion is that the environment in which they were working didn't work." Ratcliffe has taken a hands-on role with Omar Barada coming in as CEO. Dan Ashworth has been hired and since fired as the club's sporting director. Jason Wilcox also has a senior role, and Mourinho insists whoever is at the helm needs to be allowed to focus on the players and getting results. He said, "I think the ideal scenario is when the club has a structure that allows the coach to be the coach on the pitch, in the training ground, in the dressing room. I was the coach at Inter, at Real Madrid. I was the coach in my first spell at Chelsea. I was the coach at Porto. In other clubs, I was not just the coach, and that is a very difficult environment to coach." Mourinho finished 6th in his first season with the Manchester outfit, but did deliver the Carabao Cup and the Europa League. Following that, he landed 2nd spot, but then saw results nosedive in his 3rd campaign. He is being linked with a sensational return to Manchester as the club weigh up whether Ruben Amorim is the right man to lead them forward. Mourinho has never been shy in laying down what he wants, and appeared to take a swipe at the amount of roles he's had to take on in some of his previous jobs. In some club structures, you have to be the coach, you have to be the technical director, you have to be the communication director, he said. Then you have to be the image that defends the club, the players. That is something people realise, but at the same time, it is something the coach doesn't like.